Hey everybody, welcome back to Correlation Nation. This is the prop spot, and today we're going to be going over the slate. I believe today is March 20th, and yeah, we're just going to go over the slate really quickly, try to find the best props to place our bets on. And anyways, let's hop right into it. Today we got, I believe, an 8-game slate. Quite a few injuries, different things of that matter, and we're coming up on the towards the end of the season. We got about a month left, and so because of that, you kind of know how it's going to be. Also, excuse me for the the breathing and stuff. I've been feeling under the weather for a couple weeks now. Kind of started up here and moved down here and just everywhere. So excuse me for that. Anyways, at the top I have Trace. This is Trace Jackson, and I have him at 6 rebounds. He has been playing quite a bit. He's in a pretty good spot. Also, Draymond Green is in a questionable. He has a questionable tag. So with that being said, I think that the 6 rebound prop's pretty live. However, I do think that you need to um, keep in mind, the Q tag on Green. Make sure that you're aware of what the starting lineup is going to be. But I think either way, this guy's been getting a pretty good run, and he could definitely hit that 6 rebound prop, especially being in a good matchup. Brandon with the 4 rebound prop, 5 points. He's a bit of a gap filler. You don't want to rely too much on his points prop. He could hit higher than that. He could hit lower than that. Really depends on what the offense is doing. But the 4 rebound prop, I do like that quite a bit. Draymond Green, 6 rebounds if he's playing. But again, with a Q tag, you don't really know. I'm not exactly sure what he's dealing with, but just having a questionable tag that makes that a little bit iffy for me. So I'm not loving that prop just based off that Q tag. Also just to mention he's not a dominant rebounder, so it's not something you really want to run and place bets on either way. So Kessler, usually has a pretty, he's going to play around low 20 to mid 20s in minutes, and he's a pretty dominant rebounder. So 8 rebounds is pretty likely. This matchup's been a bit tougher lately. I think they're going against, is it Oklahoma? Let's pull this up real quick just for a bit of reference. Yeah, they are going against Oklahoma. So Oklahoma has been a little bit tougher on the boards lately, but he is a dominant rebounder, and 8 rebounds is more than doable for him. So Collins is got a Q tag, and from what I understand, that's a true Q. And so with that being said, Kessler could get a bit more run. So I do think that the 8 rebound prop on this guy's live. And going to Collins, keep your eye on whether this guy plays or not. But 7 rebounds, 16 points. These numbers are also very live for him. I would say that the 16 points on this guy, even though it's doable, Oklahoma's been pretty stout interior D, and so I don't love the points prop nearly as much. But if this guy's playing, 7 rebounds is pretty doable for this guy. Sabonis, 14 rebounds. So 14 is a high number, but this guy's dominant rebounder. He's been hitting this number a lot lately. He's in a great matchup, 17 points. I like the props on this guy, but let's refrain just a bit because they're going. This is why, because they're going against Toronto. So Toronto is in shambles right now. They're depleted on their roster. They don't have much on the roster, and this could get out of hand pretty quickly. So I am going to, and I've mentioned this before that I do this from time to time. So what I do is we're just gonna grab a purple real quickly, and we are going to highlight Sabonis with purple. This just kind of reminds me as I'm going through, because once I get to building parlays, I just it's hard to retain all of this information as I'm putting together my parlays. So as I'm looking at these numbers, it just kind of reminds me that hey, this is a potential spot that the spread's pretty wide and it could get out of hand. So even though these numbers are very doable for this guy and it's a great matchup and all that, if he loses minutes, it could very well change the outcome of these numbers. And so anyways, we're moving on. Nurkic at 12 rebounds. Again, high number. He's been dominating it. That's why I got the rebound highlighted orange, is because he's been getting a lot of rebounds lately, and overall he is a good rebounder, but his role is a little bit insecure. It's been pretty good lately. He's been playing high to low 30s, so or sorry, high 20s to low 30s here lately, and he's been dominating the board. So I would say the 12 rebounds is a very live number. But again, if you can get him at 10 or 11 at a good number, go ahead and take that. Zubac at 6 rebounds. His rolls a little bit up in the air, like he's not been playing as many minutes. They are playing against who is the Clippers? Portland. So hold on, sorry, I don't know. I'm telling you, I've just been sicker than it all. So with DeAndre Ayton on the other side, and he's been killing it lately. I would say that makes him pretty live for a pretty good role. It's gonna secure his minutes quite a bit, I think. And so because of that, 6 rebounds is more than doable for this guy. As long as he's getting the minutes, he's a pretty good rebounder. He's pers like 12. I think like 12 per 36. And so 6 is more than doable as long as he's getting minutes. So PG 5 rebounds, 22 points. Yeah, with Dayton kind of dominating, the glass and whatnot, you can see with the orange, it's been a little bit tougher lately. I wouldn't say I love the rebound props. Plus, PG's not really a dominant rebounder. I think it's a very doable number. But he's been pretty hot. Shooting the ball lately. His he's definitely on a hot streak. As far as his jumper goes right now. And so I think that 22 points is pretty live for this guy. Kawhi, 5 rebounds, same thing, 23 points. He's kind of the primary offensive guy. I mean, I know you got 3 guys, so it's hard to say that, but 23 points, it's pretty live for him again. I'm gonna like him a little bit lower. If I can get him at 19, 20, I like that a lot more than 23. But I do think that 23 is pretty live. Duran at 10 rebounds, 11 points, kind of a tough. Well, I wouldn't say it's the worst matchup. It shows it's been a bit tougher lately, and I'm gonna pull this up just really quickly. Or Detroit. Who are they playing today? They're playing Indiana. So yeah, I think these numbers are pretty doable for him. I would say, being that it's Indiana, more of a fast-paced team. One thing I want to mention is you can see right here I have Wiseman. Wiseman's actually been pulling some minutes, and I think the Duran's a very good player. 10 rebounds, 11 points. Both these things are very doable for him. I would say that the points prop, even though it shows that it's green, that's more because it is fast paced. But with Miles Turner potentially guarding him, or more than likely guarding him, I would say that it is kind of a tough matchup for him, offensively. But the rebounds prop's pretty live. I mean, even the points prop's live. But just keep in mind, Miles Turner is a pretty good defender. Duran's not going to be like out shooting threes, whatnot like that. So, again, live number, but I don't love that. Rebounds is more live than the points, I think. Wiseman 5 rebounds. You could take a flyer on it just because, like I said, he's been rebounding the ball pretty well, and he's been getting around 20 minutes a game. And he's been hitting this number. But again, he's a gap filler. He's just coming in. I'm not gonna say I hate it. I love it. Thompson, I'm not sure if he's even playing. Let's see. It doesn't show him. I'm not going to say it's completely accurate. It doesn't show it on the injury report there that I'm looking at anyway. So I'm not going to say it's 100% accurate. But if he's playing, these numbers are live. Tatum 7 rebounds, 25 points. Oh, Jaylen Brown's been on fire, which makes offensively it makes Jason Tatum's point prop a little bit iffy. But on the other hand, I think Jaylen Brown is questionable today. And yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it. Tatum, let's see, who are they playing against? They're playing against Milwaukee. And they're pretty lucky because, oh, let me go back. Because Giannis is actually out tonight. You can see Giannis is out tonight. We have him scratched out right down here. And so I do think that Tatum's pretty live, but this all kind of comes down to 25 points, very achievable for a guy of Tatum's caliber. 7 rebounds. It's much more live with Giannis being out. I was gonna say I don't really love these because he's probably gonna be guarded by him, but yeah, I would say these numbers are pretty live. Porzingis also 7 rebounds. I don't know if I probably have around 20 points on this guy as well. And I'd say those are live numbers. Now, Porzingis, I don't love his rebounds prop. I actually would take Tatum's rebounds prop over Porzingis. Porzingis is just, you know, he's in a position to get rebounds, but he's not the most dominant rebounder. So with that being said, I'm not going to say like I don't love it. Like you can see it's highlighted yellow right here. I could easily skim right over that at a later point, but we have that highlighted. It's highlighted yellow for a reason. Bam, he's questionable. I think he started the day where he was likely to play, and then bam, Q tagged. Dude's been on absolute fire lately. Now I would like to mention that history kind of shows that Bam does this whenever it's required. And Butler's been kind of in and out and whatnot, and so because of that, it could contribute to the fact that Bam's been playing so well offensively, also with like Tyler Hero being out. So I want to keep my eye on the injury report with this. I have him at 9 rebounds, 16 points. It's a tough offensive matchup. I have that up because he's been doing better than that. Like I said, he's offensively been on fire. But keep in mind, the other guys may be playing today. Like I think Butler started where he was unlikely and now it's questionable, whereas Bam was the opposite. And so, that messes with things quite a bit. But the 9 rebounds prop, yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think that, you could definitely look to get in on that. I'm not sure. Let me see. Cleveland. Okay, so it is tough. It's a tough spot even for rebounding. Cleveland's one of the better rebounding teams, but so as well as Miami. So I just keep your eye on the injury report, see whether this guy's playing or not. He's been killing it, but with Allen, opposing on the on the opposing side for rebounds and whatnot, it makes it a little bit sketchy. Although I'm at 5 rebounds, I don't mind it. Not the best matchup, but he's in a pretty good spot to hit that number. Miles 7 rebounds, 12 points. I don't love this guy's rebounds prop ever. Not the worst matchup, not the best matchup. Shows it's pretty tough, but been better lately. But again, this guy's rebounds are, they're sketchy. So I don't love it. 12 points. Yeah, I think I like that more. Siakam 8 rebounds, 18 points. I guess I don't mind it too much. I know we were just looking at this, so they're at Detroit. Detroit's pretty good. Against giving up rebounds, and so. But Siakam's been doing really well rebounding the ball lately. That's the other thing that I want to point out. Well, I'm going to pull this up just really quickly so you guys can see that Siakam has been doing really well on the boards lately. He's not a dominant rebounder, but like 12, 11, 9, 11, and then, it kind of falls off 7, 4, but then 13, 8, 2, 11. So he's hit this number. We have him at 8, and he's hit this number. He's only missed it 1, 2, 3 times in the past 10. So 7 to 10 times, I think that makes it pretty live. However, keep in mind that it is a pretty tough spot. 18 points, yeah, it's doable. I'd say the points prop's pretty live. Halliburton's not been shooting the ball really, really well. And, that's going to, require him to shoot even more, take on more of an offensive role. So Siakam, 18 points. I think I like that prop more than the rebound prop. But again, the rebounds, he's been hitting that. So it's a tough spot. Portis, 8 rebounds, 11 points. I would say this is very live with Greek being scratched now. Yeah, yeah. I mean, do what you will with it. Allen, 10 rebounds, 15 points. I know we were literally just looking at this. And so let's wait and see. Let's wait and see, what happens with Bam. But he's been hitting that points prop pretty consistently, and he's in a position where offensively kind of, they need that production. So even though it's a tough matchup, I think that the role offensively is going to be there. You can see, 23, 10, 17, 15, 15, 33, 18, 21. I mean, he's hit this number, 8 of the last 10 games. And then the rebound. I mean, Minnesota was a tough spot, and he had 18. I don't know if Gobert and them are playing, but I mean, these numbers are live. Olenek, 6 rebounds, 10 points. The role is just going to be there. I think, not a great rebounder, but he's going to be in a position to get those 6 boards. Is not a whole lot. I'd say it's doable. Not my favorite bet in the world just because he's not a dominant rebounder, but 10 plus points is pretty live. I don't know if you can get him at 10 points, but if you can, I'd probably take it. I'd take a Olenek at 10 points if you can get it. Tobias, I don't know if he's playing or not. Dude's been, not he's just down bad right now, so we won't talk too much about that. But these are very low numbers for the guy. Breed 7 rebounds. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Mo Bamba's been, I think, starting ahead of him, but even last time he started ahead of Reed, and he still got to the 7 rebounds. So it's a tough spot. At least it shows on paper it's a tough spot. I'm not sure who they're playing. Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, and Nurkic has been dominating the board, so it is a very tough spot. I don't know if I like that a whole lot, but it's there. Do what you will with it. 8 and 10 rebounds, 20 points. Dude, just on fire. I've talked about this guy. He's throughout his career not the most consistent guy, but this past 5+ game stretch or whatever it's been, he's been absolutely on fire. And so the NBA is just, I mean, it's a game of streaks. And this guy is streaking right now. He's red hot. And even though it's a tough matchup for the rebounds, and even offensively, not the greatest matchup, but yeah, I don't know that Zubac is or whatever is gonna stop this guy from his like mid range pull up that he's been doing here lately. Aiton's been playing pretty well lately, so yeah, I think you can go ahead and snipe these numbers. I don't know if you'll be able to get him at 10 rebounds just because his production's been so high, but if you can get him at 20 plus points, I'd probably take it. I mean, just yeah, be a little cautious because it is um, kind of a tougher matchup. But again, you gotta get these guys when they're streaking. This guy's streaking, and I don't know that the opposing defender, the guy that's going to be across from him, is going to be able to stop his offensive game, and they're also in a spot where, I think the Clippers, they probably want to win this game. They're probably favorites to win this game, and it's going to put Ayton in a spot where, the offense is required. So definitely 20 plus points on Ayton. Not a bad prop. Chet Holmgren, 7 rebounds. Yeah, not the best rebounder. He's up and down, up and down. You're never going to love, betting a rebound prop on a guy that's, anywhere from, I mean, he could be way down here at like 3 or 4 rebounds, and he could be way up here at like 13 rebounds. It's a tough spot, but 14 points is more than doable for him. It's a good offensive matchup. Um, yeah, I mean, he's just, he's third to fourth at best, offensively on the team. And so, it's basically going to go like SGA and then Jalen Williams, which down here we have at 4 rebounds, 22 points. I'd probably take the points prop on J Dub before I would Chet. But 14 is a pretty doable number. He's hit this quite a bit. There's just always the off chance that, he's not playing super well. And pull him up, I mean, look like 11 points, 8, 7. Like I said, same thing goes with his rebounds. Look, 3 rebounds, 14 rebounds. You know, I don't know. He's not my favorite guy to place a bet on. I'll just put it that way. Again, Jalen Williams, 4 rebounds. Yeah, not a dominant rebounder, and it's a tough spot. I'm not going to love the rebounds prop, but 4 is pretty doable for him. 22 points. I think I like that a lot more. Cade, 19 points. I think he's playing today. I'd say that's pretty live. Cade at 19 points. That's more doable for him. He's been a little bit cold lately, so I'm gonna go ahead. And maybe that was due to injury. I know he just set the past couple games, so maybe his little cold streak was due to the injury. But anyways, just always keep in mind, yeah, he wasn't playing very, very well. Ivy, 14 points. Yeah, it's a pretty doable number for him. SGA, 30 plus points. Yeah, it's a bit of a high number, but this guy's been hitting 30, 31 very consistently throughout the year. And so even though 30 is a bit of a high number, you always like it when a guy of SGA's caliber is in a very good matchup. They're playing Utah's a very, very fast paced team. They're pretty poor defensively, and yeah, I would say they'll probably have Chris Dunn trying to guard him. And you just seen what Anthony Edwards done. So I mean they're different players certainly, but SGA has been shown to be a more consistent player um, this year than even Anthony Edwards, even though Anthony might be a bit more explosive. Yeah, SGA is definitely in a spot to get to this 30 plus points. Halliburton, 14 plus points. Yeah, offensively, his shot's just not been going down. So, I would probably rather take him in an assist prop just because of that. He's cold offensively. But, 14 is a pretty doable number. McConnell is in a good spot. Obviously, this guy's coming in off the bench. Been pretty hot lately. So 8 points is pretty doable. But again, you just got to be careful when you're playing a guy that is, coming in off the bench. You don't know what they're going to do from game to game. So Nimhard 7 points, pretty likely number. Again, he's a gap filler, so you don't want to place too many bets on this guy. But 7 points is a very very doable number for this guy. Fox 20 plus points. Yeah, Fox. I like Fox. He's a great player, but a bit inconsistent. 20 points is very doable for him as well. But I mean, he could also hit 18. I mean, let's see what he's been doing just as of late. He's just an up and down guy. So 23, 20, 21, 29, 18. So he's only missed the 20. I think that's why I have him there. He's only missed the 20, one time at 18. So obviously hitting 20 is pretty doable for him. He should be in a plus matchup. Sacramento is playing. Let's see. Toronto. Okay, so yeah, your concern is honestly going to kind of become the spread on this game. So top back over here. I'm going to highlight that. Oh, I went a little too far. And then we'll do the same thing with Monk. Same thing with Monk. But these numbers are doable. You can't predict what the outcome of the game is going to be, or what the line ends up being, or whatever. So I think that these are doable numbers for sure. It's just is it going to be required? Jaylen Brown, we spoke about him a little bit earlier. Dude's absolutely on fire. So 26 points. It's a bit high for him as far as, like what his averages are and whatnot. But just based off the fact that, he's been so good as of late, I think that 26 points, as long as he's playing, keep your eye on the injury report. We don't know whether he's going to play. I'd say it's kind of likely from what I understand. Um, but, at any point, his streak could end. So 26 is a high number, but you can also play it. You do what you will with it. It's yes and no. Like you don't want to play it too much because it's a high number, but you don't want to discredit, the fact that this dude's been killing it offensively. Porzingis 20 plus points. It's a likely number. I mean, I think that before he missed some time, he was hitting this 20 plus points pretty regularly. But because Boston has so many scoring threats, it makes these offensive numbers, these points props a little bit sketchy. I mean, it just does. There's too much. There's too many all-star caliber players. Porzingis, Jalen, Tatum, Drew Holiday, which he's not relied on too much offensively, but you got White. Yeah, anybody could just, have a 30, 40 piece, and it's really going to cut into somebody else's production. Gary Trent should be in a position to have a pretty big offensive role. 15 point plus points is pretty doable. The guy's pretty good offensively. He's not a very good defender, but he shoots the ball pretty well. I remember his time in, I think it was Portland. I think that's where he was drafted. That guy hit a lot of clutch shots. And I think that over the past few years, people have forgotten about how good this guy is actually offensively. He might not be like the best ISO player or whatever, but I think that given the role, he's going to put up pretty good numbers. He's probably around a like 18, 19 point per game average. I don't know what his 36 per 36 is, but I would say that 15 plus points is pretty likely for him, especially considering he should have every opportunity to shoot the ball. Grady Dick, 8 plus points. Yeah, I mean, you can run that. Bruce Brown, same thing. I'd say Bruce Brown's probably going to be starting today at point guard, so 12 points is pretty doable, but, he's maybe not the most consistent offensive player. He does a lot more than that. He does a lot of other stuff. He's pretty energetic, like high energy defense. He'll distribute. He'll do a lot of different things. So I don't know that I'd rely on the points prop so much, but it's definitely an achievable number for him. Bain at 22 points, I like that. JJ at 21, I like that. These guys are gonna have the green light. JJ's role's pretty. It's very secure. I mean, this dude is dominating the ball. He's getting a lot of drives and stuff like that. So JJ's 21 points. Yeah, I like that. Powell's questionable. I don't know exactly what's going on with him. I seen him on the injury report, so I'm not sure. But usually, 11, 12 points is pretty doable for this guy, even though he's coming off the bench. Maxi 24 points. Not a bad prop. Oubre at 18, not a bad prop. I would keep your eye on whether Tobias plays or not. I mean, because even though Oubre's been playing really well, I'd say he's actually on pretty hot. You know what I mean? I'm gonna highlight him because he's been pretty hot lately. So I do like that. But Tobias's role and everything could affect that. So just be careful. Keontae 18 points. Rookie guy, questionable production, but an achievable number. Sexton at 20 plus points. Yeah, I don't mind it. Now I will say that they are playing Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's been pretty strong against the guards. I've noticed that. I don't dig into like all these super advanced like deep stats, even though maybe sometimes I should. But over time, I've come to the understanding that Oklahoma has been pretty tough against guards. But Sexton, and I mentioned this the other day, Sexton has an ability because of his quickness and his speed to just get by people. And so I'm never going to count this guy out from scoring 18, 19, 20 points. He's been pretty hot, so I got him at 20. But considering what I just said, if you can get this guy at 17, 18 points, I'm going to take it. Simons is questionable. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with him, but he is questionable. But if this guy plays 23 points, let's see what the matchup is. He is a shooting guard. I'm sure he's listed as shooting guard. And there he is right there. So he's against the Clippers. Yeah, the production's there. Bearing this guy's, it might be a bit of a tougher team. I know, at times I've heard people like they want to think that the Clippers are like a more of a fast-paced team, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty slow. I'm not exactly where they rank on pace, but they're a bit slower. And but you got Harden and Terrence Mann. I'd say Terrence. He'd probably have Terrence try to guard him more than likely. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if he's on, he's gonna hit that. I think that's what you see it. So if he's playing, you can always look to play that number. Band at 12 points. I think he's moved back to the bench, but he's probably still gonna get a reasonable role. 12 points is doable, but you got to kind of pull back your expectations on a guy that's coming off the bench. When you're looking at his recent production, Scoot at 12 points. That's pretty likely, but again, I'm going to highlight him because we are talking about a rookie. I don't love rookie production, but 12's a low number. Curry at 25 plus points. I don't love this because Curry, we spoke about this, great player and all, but up and down, up and down. He's shown to be shooting the ball pretty well lately, but it only takes a shot not falling, so I'm not going to run to bet any Curry points props personally. Kuminga at 20 points. I would take Kuminga 20-point prop probably before Curry, and that's just because, the way that he scores. Not that he's a better scorer. I don't think he's a better scorer. Let me pull this up. Okay, so Memphis, yeah. I mean, Memphis is actually played defense pretty well, but I don't mind the Kuminga prop. Clay's well. Clay's been shooting the ball pretty well. And the thing is because he's coming off the bench or has been, uh, you're going to be able to get him at a much lower number than say Curry. And so, with that being said, if you can get this guy at 16 points, you know, it's just not the worst number. KD's been shooting the ball pretty bad. Or sorry, I shouldn't say that. He's been a bit. I haven't looked at his shooting numbers. I have him marked as cold because he hasn't been getting there. So he has come from hitting these 30 plus point games all the way down to where I have him at like 20 points. You probably won't be able to find that number. And I'm not sure if it's because he's been shooting bad or if it's just because the rest of the team has been playing well. And so we'll pull him up just real quickly and just see what he's been doing. So you can see 11 points, 13 points, 20 points. But then he was like 37, 45, 35, 35, and then 20, 30, 24. He's been playing big minutes, so his allotment of minutes are definitely there. But look, 4 of 10, 5 of 15, 9 of, and he was shooting, over here it was over 50%, over 50%, over 50%. That was under 50%. But yeah, I would say, yeah, you can look at it. That's about, I guess, 40%. Milwaukee, fast paced team, but a little bit tougher when you have like say Giannis to go against. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. Like I said, these Suns guys, I just don't trust them too much, just simply because of how many offensive scores they have. So that is what it is. And then you look at Booker, 21 points. Yeah, he's in a well. Let me see this again real quick. Who are the Suns playing again? Okay, so they're playing Philadelphia. Yeah, I would say he's in a pretty good spot. Booker is 21 points. I mean, obviously 21's a low number for him, more doable. But the number and the player I'm going to mention right here is Beal. Beal has been exceeding expectations for sure as of late. You know what I mean? Because again, he does play third fiddle, and so Beal's definitely been exceeding expectations. You can get him at a low number. He's been hitting this number pretty regularly, and so Beal at 16 points. Again, you do have to hinder your expectation just a bit because he is the third option. However, as I mentioned earlier, you got to get guys when they're streaking, and Bill's been driving a lot. He's been driving even since Booker's come back, over 14 drives a game. And, if you do the math, I mean, even if he's just driving and he's hitting 50% of those shots, he's going to get around 14 points just based off that. And then if, he's hitting any of his jumpers at all, he only has to hit one of them. I mean, just based off. And again, you can't guarantee, what I said comes to fruition, but it's just kind of a logical thing to think that these are possibilities. So with that being said, Bill's been hot, 16 points. I like that number. Rozier, 13 points. If everyone's healthy, I don't know if I like the 13 points as much. I'd rather, bet it at like 11 or 12, especially since it's a tougher matchup. But, yeah, it just is what it is. Dame at 20 points. He's going to be in a spot to definitely have he's had a pretty big role, but with Giannis being out, it's going to be even bigger. Now it's kind of a tough matchup, but Dame at 20 points is a doable number. You know what I mean? Like Dame's a guy that's kind of matchup proof. You don't want to say, oh, he's in a tough matchup, I don't want to play it. 20 points is a low number for a guy of his caliber, and his role is going to be expanded because of the fact that Giannis is not playing today. So Dame at 20 points, if you can find that, it's not the worst thing. Middleton, 13 points. Yeah, dude's been, injury riddled for like the past 2 or 3 seasons now. But I think 13 points is a pretty live number for this guy, okay? And then we have Garland. Yeah, he's not been shooting the ball extremely well, but 15 points is still a low enough number that you could look at it. LeVert, same thing. He's got a bit more of a role with Donovan being out. So 15 points is pretty achievable, and then Niang at 13 points. So anyways, these are the numbers I have. These are the props I have. And just to kind of run back through it just really quickly and talk about some of the stuff I like. Dame, I like that prop. I don't know what kind of number you can find it at, but, Dame's going to be in a position to hit his points prop today. Rozier, like I said, if depending on, who all plays today, I think if you can get him at a bit lower, like I said, 11, 12, I like that. I do like the Bill and the Booker prop. Clay, I'll look at it. I'm not, going to put a whole lot on it just because he's coming off the bench, and the only thing it takes for him not to hit his points prop is he's kind of like Curry, where you know he shoots a lot of threes, and if his shot's not falling, good luck getting to 16. But if his shot is falling, he's going to get to that really, really quickly. It's just a much lower number than Curry, say 25. So because of that, I don't mind it. Plus, he's been pretty hot. Kuminga, I like his points prop. Uh, I'd say Simons, if he's playing, is not the worst. I do like Sexton. I do like Oubre. I do like Maxey. I like Jaren Jackson and Bane. I like Gary Trent. Grady's is not the worst. I mean, these guys are going to be in a position to play, and Grady's probably even somewhat like blowout proof. You could look at Jaylen Brown and Porzingis, but again, I mentioned earlier that these guys are, kind of comes down to what the rest of the team's doing, and because there's so many good players. Boy, and real quickly before I talk any more about that, I want to see who they're playing again, because is it Milwaukee? So let's see. I mean, honestly, I don't even have Derek White down, but Derek White might be in a position to have a decent game. It just kind of comes down to what his number is. And Porzingis, honestly, that's the problem is any of these guys can have a good game. Derek White, I mean, you got Middleton on Brown potentially, Crowder on Tatum, which Crowder's probably a better defender at this point than Middleton. Lopez on Porzingis. I mean, he's not going to stop Porzingis. Porzingis is, capable of shooting. Yeah, that he's not going to stop him. So it just kind of comes down to, who's got the hot hand, I guess. That's the issue with these guys. Jaylen Brown has shown that over the past few games he's got the hot hand. So, I'm just going to say I'm going to rock with that. 26 points is live, but a lower number is even more live. And you can probably find it. Yeah, I'm gonna go buy Fox and Monk. I don't hate the numbers, but I'm a little sketched out by that game. Nimhard 7 points, not the worst. Halliburton 14 points, not the worst. But again, this guy's been showing he's not hitting too much. I'd say it's a good matchup offensively. So if you can find a good assist prop on Halliburton, I'd take that. If you can get him at 9-10 assist, yeah, let's grab that up, because again, if your shot's not falling and you're already naturally a distributor, you're probably going to look to pass the ball. SGA, love that prop. Ivy, 14 points, and Cade at 19. So Cade's a little bit cold, but 19's a low number. So, I was betting this guy at 26 points not long ago. So 19 points is pretty doable for him. Jalen Williams, 22 points, not too bad. Ayton, yeah, he's on fire, so that's not bad. Oliniks aren't the worst. Siakam's point prop. Miles point prop, yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to say I love Miles, but Siakam's not too bad. Kawhi and PG, their points prop aren't too bad, but I would say with Kawhi it's a little bit higher than I like. It's honestly same thing with PG. He relies on his jumper a little bit more, and he has been kind of hot as of late. So I don't hate it, but I don't love it, because again, at any point, if his shot's not falling, he's gonna come up quite short of that. 17, 18 points. So depending on what number he's at is how confident I feel in that number, but he's been pretty hot lately. I do like the Nurkic rebound prop. I like Sabonis's numbers more than Fox's numbers, but again, I'm a little bit sketched out by the game. And then I'll take Brandon and Trace's rebound prop. Those would be my favorite ones. Anyways, I hope everybody has good luck today. I'm probably not going to actually be placing any bets, because unfortunately I live in Missouri, and sports betting is not legal in this state. So typically I got to head all the way north if I want to do so. But I may put together some like pick six lineup stuff like that. But I hope that everybody has good luck today, and if I can find the time tonight, I'll go over tonight's slate, and I might even try to go over yesterday's because I didn't have an opportunity to do that last night. So, anyways, good luck to everybody. Hope you guys make some money. And again, PropSpot, hit the like button, subscribe, do what you got to do, and peace out, y'all.